It's been about a year since my first Triple Soul Link video, and you can probably guess why.
Fuck this game.
But it doesn't matter, because we have returned, and we're here to win it all this time. Okay, so last time our Triple Soul Link didn't go too well. I don't know why I said that. It went horribly. We didn't get past the first gym leader, had a bad encounter with Akira, even tried to cheat and give ourselves another chance, just to lose to another Kiram. It doesn't matter, we're back, and we have a few rule changes. I went over all the rules in my first video, and the rules are generally the same. The only thing different is how the level caps are handled. Before we had it so all experience gained in the gym from trainers were fair game. So you could get to the level cap, which was one below the gym leader's ace Pokemon, but fight all the trainers in the gym to get to a higher level than their ace. That's now been changed to the level cap being the gym leader's ace Pokemon. If our Pokemon over level, we cannot use it until we beat the gym leader. If we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this the right way. Other than that, the rules are about the same, and I think I'll go over the extra rules as the video goes on, to switch things up a bit. However, there are some basic rules that a person needs to know for a Soul Link. We can only catch the first Pokemon in a new area. The Pokemon that we catch in that area will now be linked. If that Pokemon faints, all the other Pokemon that it was linked to also faint. Fainting in a Nuzlocke is equal to death. That's about it. Before the video starts though, on March 1st, Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, passed away. I wasn't able to honor him in any way in my last video, but for this Nuzlocke, I'll be naming all my Pokemon after characters he's created. In my case, I grew up with Dragon Ball, so they'll mostly be Dragon Ball characters, but it's the only thing I can think of to honor him in this video. Yeah, I guess Matt Pat also retired in that same month. Well, I'll find a Pokemon to name him after too. Well, here goes nothing. Me and my friends, Gerald and Eric, have now returned to the Hoenn region after a year-long vacation to claim our rightful title as the Triple Soul Link champions of Hoenn. You know how it goes. We're in the back of a truck, and Mr. Birch asks us for our name. Last time, I thought about naming myself Champ Jeffrey, but decided not to because of how stupid I would look if I named myself Champ Jeffrey, only to end up losing. Good thing I didn't do that last time. But this time, we're all champs. Sometimes, you just need to believe that you're a champ to become the champ. We have Champ Jeffrey, Champ Eric, and Champ Gerald, and the three of us will be the ones to take down Champion Steven. Besides all of that, we do the usual. Turn the game to set mode, go into our new house and set the clock, go ahead and meet May, and then go to the nearest route, and begin to make the decision that will determine our fate for this Soul Link. Helping out Professor Birch 2 is also a bonus, but this is much more important. As you can see, our Pokemon are completely randomized for this Soul Link. The reason for this is that we three cannot have the same primary typings on our teams. This rule makes things much harder on us, and can make our teams look questionable at times, and we're also just stupid for having this rule. As of making this video, there are 18 types in Pokemon, so if you divide it by 3, you technically could get all 3 members of a Triple Soul Link to have a full party of 6 with a pretty diverse team. I mean, that's not happening, but I guess it could happen. We went with the Pokemon on the right, which would usually be Mudkip, but in our case, we have a Miltank, a Floatzel, and a Talonflame. Pretty good starters, if I do say so myself. The reason we didn't go for the middle row is because there's a pretty glaring weak link, I don't know, the Volbeat. On the left, there was an opportunity for me to get Anorith here, but I don't want to use that thing. Now, the Nuzlocke doesn't start until we get Pokeballs, so we can use this opportunity to see what we can get in the grass.
Time for a champion battle.
Do not give me a sperm cell, please.
What'd you say?
Do you see what's on my screen?
We beat May, get those Pokeballs, say bye to our mom, and we're off. Here in this first route, May teaches us about DexNav, which will be a huge part of how we play. DexNav is a feature that allows you to find certain Pokemon. If you run around a certain area and see grass rustling, you can go towards it and tap the bottom screen to see a silhouette of that Pokemon. This will allow us to strategically pick out Pokemon for our team, without having to worry about conflicting types. May might have introduced this mechanic to us, but we still actually can't do it until we progress further. It's still the early game, so there's not too much to worry about. Even from a random encounter, it's a pretty low chance for any of us to encounter the same typings. So the rule is that we can't have conflicting types on the same team. But what happens if one of our encounters happens to be the same type as someone else's? We lose the encounter. No reroll, we just lose it. Which is what happened here in this first route. The only time we do reroll is for Doubles Claws. If we've caught the Pokemon before, or if the Pokemon we find is in the same evolutionary line, we're allowed to reroll the encounter and try for another. We do find some usable Pokemon in the other patch of grass, but they have to be benched for now. Alright, so before I talked about how the DexNav was a huge part of how we play, and it starts now. Part of the DexNav feature is the ability to sneak around. Sneaking in the grass reduces the chances of us running into a wild Pokemon. It's slow and annoying to do, but we can start using DexNav properly if we get past this area. You'll also see us tiptoeing around trainers a lot and outright avoiding a lot of them for 2 main reasons. We don't want to overlevel, and Dragon Rage. We learned our lesson from last time. We make it into Petalburg City, see our dad, Wally's dumbass catches this Ralts. Okay, now we can Dex Nav. We got through this entire route without running into any Pokemon, just to use Dex Nav. It's important that we're able to actually pick out Pokemon that are usable for our current team. Eric is able to catch a Steelix, I get a Flaffy, and Gerald gets a Slowbro. You might also notice that the Steelix is a Mega. For our rule set, we are not able to use any Mega or Legendary. Even the bad Legendaries are still better than half the stuff we're gonna encounter, and Megas are pretty self-explanatory, so they're banned. To get rid of the Mega, we're just gonna have to reset the game and the Pokemon goes back to normal. We go into Petalburg Woods to get our next encounter and to travel to the first gym leader. We managed to catch some pretty strong Pokemon for our team. Seriously, this is a really strong combo. And also get the EXP share from this scientist guy. The EXP share in this game spreads out EXP evenly to every Pokemon in the party. We learned our lesson last time, so we're just gonna turn that off. On the way to Rustboro, there was a double battle here on this bridge that is something that none of us here want to try to attempt. This double battle here can end our run if we get a little unlucky, but honestly, that goes for any trainer fight. We found out that the double battle is avoidable by making sure there's only one Pokemon in our party. It kinda sucks that we have to try and avoid all the trainers there in order to do this. Remember, we're not trying to get into any trainer fights. But if it's to avoid the double battle, I think it's worth it. No!
Oh, shit.
No! Critical hit! We decided that before we fight Roxanne, we should get the 2 encounters to the right. I fought the first trainer in this new area because I needed money for Pokeballs, and it was my turn to get dropped off by Akira, and I ended up losing my Flaffy. Alright, so I killed Eric Steelix, my bad. But on the plus side, I encountered a Steelix after killing his off, so it's all good. We ended up losing the second encounter in the cave due to conflicting types, but our teams look solid enough right now. We went into Roxanne's gym and we decided to fight her with the majority of our Pokemon being a level below her ace. This is because the level cap for the next gym leader is 16, and we didn't want to overlevel our current Pokemon because these guys are really good. Also, I don't think I'll get the chance to really mention this. Another rule we decided to do is if another person's Pokemon faints and the other players are still in battle, they're still allowed to use that Pokemon until the battle finishes. Simple rule we added to not disrupt the flow of battle. We beat Roxanne without any problem. We just had better Pokemon than her, so we already beat our previous attempt. That's not saying much because it's just the first gym leader, but there's still the issue of Brawly, the next gym leader. We head over to Dewford to fight Brawly, and we're able to get the Old Rod here. With the Old Rod, we got 2 encounters. One of them was pretty good, maybe not the Dratini, and the other one was apparently so good that Gerald used a Master Ball on it. I didn't mention it before, but the items are also randomized, so we happened to get a Master Ball before all of this happened. My encounter wasn't so good, it was actually kinda ass, but I mean, at least everyone else got something good. Inside Brawly's gym, there's also a vending machine that drops fresh water, sodas, and lemonades. We found out that paying for these instead of the potions at the store was much cheaper. It takes longer to do because the vending machine only drops 1 item at a time, but these items have better healing and we need to save as much money as we can. And also because right before this, Eric had ended up using all his Pokeballs to try and catch a Carbink, and didn't even end up catching it. Brawly seemed kinda crazy on my side, but Steelix was a complete wall for everything, which made things easy. Eric fought 2 Pokemon, which were just not good compared to his, and Gerald had to fight a Registeel. There was a close call with the Registeel using Charge Beam on his Floatzel, but it didn't die there, so there was no need to flame him. If he got crit and it died, we would've. Second gym down, 6 more to go. We go into this cave and talk to Steven Stone about something here. I honestly have no clue what this guy's talking about. And we head over to Slateport to handle some business in the museum. Sadly, on the beach, we ended up losing our Dusknoir, Snorlax, and Goodra combo. Dragon Rage got us once again, so we're down to 3 members in our party. In the museum, some guy's trying to steal some parts for a ship. He's talking about some water stuff and the sea, or the land. Before we leave this town, there's another encounter we can get here. The gift Pokemon from the Pokemon contest. Usually, doing this Pokemon contest would give you a Pikachu in a costume, but in this case, we're getting a randomized Pokemon. With the rules we have, gifts Pokemon are one of the few exceptions to the 1 Pokemon per area rule. It does cause us some confusion later down the line, and honestly, I felt like removing the rule, but it is what it is. Eric managed to get a Charizard, which is good. On the other hand, I got a Scatterbug, and Gerald got a Hoppip. Safe to say that this Pokemon is getting benched, because there is no way we're swapping out this combo for this one. Up ahead, there's a fight with May, and afterwards, she gives us a dowsing machine. The fight itself was really nothing to write home about. I'm lying. Eric had to fight a Mega Ampharos, a Deoxys for me, and Gerald, well, the Salamence can't really touch his Granbull, so I guess it wasn't that crazy. The trainer fight a little ahead of May gave us yet another reminder of why we avoid trainer fights. Eric had accidentally ran into this guy, and he pulls out a Primal Groudon. You see why we're avoiding fights, but surprisingly, no casualties. We're now in Mauville City, home to Watson, the 3rd gym leader. Before fighting him, we're gonna have to beat Wally. He's not really a problem. I mean, look at his Pokemon right now. What the hell is that? To the right of Mauville City, we run into some excellent encounters. Eric finds a Swallow. I find a Honedge, which is a once-in-a-lifetime encounter. I mean, sure, getting a Duskstone won't really be possible because we have randomized items, but Doublade is still very good. And Gerald got Scorbus. We got some more encounters, but the types conflicted, and our current team of 3 was already pretty strong, so we just went to the fight with Watson. The fight was pretty easy. Again, we just had better Pokemon encounters for whatever Watson had. Third gym badge in the bag. After beating Watson, we see some Team Aqua / Magma Grunts talking about going to Mount Chimney, so we know where we need to go. In order to get past this area, we need to use Rock Smash. For our rule set, we're allowing a Pokemon from the box, dead or alive, to be put in our party just for HMs. It's not cheating, because HMs are dumb. And we could also get totally unlucky and find no Pokemon that can use the HMs we need. It's very unlikely that would happen, but you know, we also ran into conflicting types on our very first encounter, so I wouldn't put it past us. Speaking of conflicting types, we lose an encounter here because of it, which sucks, but we get another encounter here in Mount Chimney. I'm not gonna say it's good, but more Pokemon doesn't hurt.
Chill, oh my god. Okay.
Okay, the encounter died, Jeffrey.
Wait, what happened?
The encounter died.
Oh no. So we actually didn't get any Pokemon here. Secret base guy, whatever. Route 113, we actually caught some Pokemon that can be added to our party of 3. Eric got a Swinub, I got a Mawile, and Joe got a Mareep. Honestly, these Pokemon aren't even bad. Funny how I got a Mawile, where in my last video I kinda talked trash about its stats, but you know what? The past is the past. In this next part where we go to Falibor's Hound, there is something important that I have to mention. We actually don't have Joe's perspective for around 4 hours of footage. There were a lot of encounters and stuff that we don't have recorded, and we did this entire thing back in April, so we have no clue what happened on his side. So for this next portion, I'm gonna gloss over a lot of stuff encounter-wise, since I'm going purely off of memory and what we said in the actual recordings. Alright, so the moment we get into this town, we're told to help the professor here. He got his meteorite robbed, and yeah, we gotta get it back. Route 114, we find Pokemon that can be on a super team. Eric finds a Gengar, I find a Garchomp, which is pretty much cheating, but I don't care. And Gerald finds a Feebas. These Pokemon are usable and can be put onto our current party, giving us 5 Pokemon, but the Feebas that Gerald got is dead weight. I don't need to tell you why having these two linked to a Feebas is bad. We head into Meteor Falls and do a double battle with May to help out the professor. Luckily, May didn't do anything trash here for any of us. Next thing for us to do is to get to the top of Mount Chimney to confront the leader of Team Aqua or Magma about what the hell they're doing with a space rock. Sadly, we lost the Abomasnow, Dwebble, and Jolteon combo here in this fight against the Mega Kangaskhan. That's a really bad loss. I want you guys to remember that Gerald used a Master Ball for this Jolteon. I mean, my Pokemon wasn't really that good, it was a Dwebble, but now it just feels like a Master Ball has just gone to waste. Although Eric had lost his Abomasnow, there was another Pokemon that could take its place. The Swinub that he got earlier.
Snow, you are shit.
Maxie or Archie want to immediately fight us again, but they get told from a subordinate to go to Mount Pyre. Before leaving, they give us the meteorite and head out. So with all that done, we head down to the 4th gym leader, Flannery. We decided that in order to have a more diverse team to fight Flannery with, we would have to put our current team in the box and create a whole new team from scratch. We kept our party around a level below her ace Pokemon, which is because right after her gym is Norman, and his ace Pokemon is only 2 levels higher than Flannery's. Our team right here is pretty solid, so we don't have to bench anyone for this next gym fight. I have to say though, I definitely have the best team here. Eric has a Dratini, who is trash for 90% of the game because of level caps, and Gerald has Execute, who just sucks unless you evolve it. Now, I can't speak for Gerald because I don't know what happened on his end, but me and Eric breezed past this gym. He stacked bulk ups on his Braviary to one-shot everything that Flannery had, and I stacked Acupressures until I could do the same. But because we don't know what happened on Gerald's end, me and Eric decided to recreate the fight in Pokemon Showdown as replacement footage. Super Fire Flannery 69? Oh my god, bro. Oh, there we go. Crit plus flinch. Gerald, you suck.
Red Ice on my wrist.
Gerald sucks,
Red Ice
bro.
on my wrist.
Yo.
Red Ice on my wrist. Oh my god.
Yeah, you want to get dropped off? I got you right here. Yo! I got it right here. Right here for you. Get out of my face! Get out of my face! Get out of my... Okay.
Yo, this kid is getting dropped.
You are getting dropped. You are so... That's what I'm saying! What?! Oh my god, this guy pissed me off. Oh. Yeah, I'm getting dropped. Oh my god, bro. Oh, no. We beat Flannery flawlessly, collecting our 4th gym badge. We get the TM for overheat from her, and then we go back with May to Petalburg to face Norman. While fighting the trainers inside the gym, we found the number of our Pokemon in our party going back to 3. A Girder ended up critting Eric's Dratini, and we ended up losing this combo right here. I honestly don't even think the crit even mattered because Dratini was just not good. This is not the kind of Pokemon you want when you have level caps. There wasn't anyone we could replace that combo with, so it was back to a party of 3, Xenogears style. So me and Eric got through this with no problem. But like I said before, we don't have footage on Gerald's side, so me and Eric again did another recreation in Showdown.
Go Gerald's wife.
What'd you say? Oh my god, bro. Yeah, you're getting dropped off. Yo, huevos Jaja Eric, bro, you suck. Yeah, I'll be seeing you later. I'll be seeing you later. Yeah, I'll see you later. No! Eric is trash, no!
Let's go, Goat, the ultimate.
Ice beam. Yo, Gerald superhero. Ooh! Jesus Christ, why'd you crit me, dude? This guy pissed me off. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you're allowed no more. Oh yeah, you're allowed no more. Oh god.
This is where you're about to get dropped off.
Drop this off right here. Oh my god! I have one thing left. Come on. Come on. Gerald superhero. Gerald superhero.
No,
Blizzard.
No.
Time for some fire blast.
fire.
Let's go! Get out of my face! You're trash! Get out of my face! Now, that isn't completely accurate. What actually happened was we all beat Norman, and Gerald had lost his Glalie during the fight. It always sucks losing some pretty good Pokemon, but it opens up the opportunity for some more team building. You know, I like seeing 5 Pokemon on the team again, but I have to be honest, there's clearly one team that isn't as good as the others. It's bound to happen when you're trying to make sure 3 people aren't having conflicting types, but if you still can't tell which team is the worst one here, it's the one with the fucking eggs on it. Seeing as how we just had to change up our party, I decided to do some grinding. I would level up everyone in the current party and then slowly start taking out random Pokemon from the box and leveling them up too. But something came up during all of this. Something I never thought I would ever have to cover in this video. Shiny Claws. Start my recording.
That's a shiny. That looks exactly the same.
No,
What
this
are you
is
talking about?
No, it's a shiny.
This is a shiny.
Because, this is
exactly
a
the
female
same.
Hippowdon. Female Hippowdon is
Okay.
a lighter color.
Are you recording it?
Yes, I'm recording. Yeah, this was totally unexpected. I was just trying to level up my Garchomp and I find a shiny Hippowdon. It doesn't look like a shiny, it actually looks kinda normal, but I can assure you, the star doesn't lie, this was a shiny. So the shiny clause overwrites the doubles clause and the 1 Pokemon per area rule. However, since I got a shiny, the other players now have to find a shiny in the same area, and they have to keep in mind that the shiny they catch can't have conflicting types. Now, you can shiny hunt for a certain Pokemon in that area, that's how it usually goes. But we decided to have another option where you give yourself a shiny, but that shiny Pokemon has to be the Pokemon in the area with the lowest stat total. Okay, now this might sound like cheating, but let me talk. The main reason there's even a second option is recording space. I will explain this as simply as I can. There are 3 people recording this, right? 3 perspectives? Every recording session we did was at least 2 hours long. So now I have to have the other guys send their perspectives to me onto my hard drive where I do all of my editing, and this is what you get. So I'm kinda glad that Gerald decided to go with the weakest Pokemon in his area, being the Pichu. Eric did some chain fishing, but he managed to get a Scraggy, giving me some high hopes for this set of Pokemon. Pichu can eventually become Raichu, Hippowdon is really strong, and Scraggy can eventually become Scrafty. Now, I said this was a high potential set of Pokemon. Currently, the only good Pokemon in this combo is Hippowdon. Everyone else here is trash. But anyways, we head east of Mauville City and meet up with Steven. He asks us some deep questions until Latios pops up here and we take a ride to this island. Here we find Latios with a Megastone. Some grunts come in and try and take the Latios, but they gotta know who they're dealing with. They're fighting the champ and the champ in a double battle. After beating those guys, this is where Latias will join your party with a Megastone. In our case, since it's randomized, we're most likely not getting a Latias. However, the Pokemon we can get will be one that has the ability to Mega Evolve. Eric ended up getting a Glalie, I got a Kangaskhan, and Gerald got a Venusaur. We added in our new shiny Pokemon to our current roster rather than trying to rebuild a team. These current Pokemon allowed us to have 5 members in our parties, and adding the shiny Pokemon would give us 6, marking the first time in the run where we have a full party of 6. Fitting, because the next gym leader is the 6th one. Before we head over there, we have to train our Pokemon a bit. We have a pretty strong team, so we gotta make sure they can stay alive. During this little training session, I did run into Dialga that a trainer had, but it was a trainer that I previously dodged way back, so I'm more than prepared to take this thing on. But imagine if I didn't dodge this guy. Actually, I found myself also running into a Mew that a trainer had. It was nowhere near my level, but I still thought it was worth mentioning.
I forgot what it was called. I've never seen subtitle with that.
Probably overgrowth or something.
No, it has a thing called Lightning Rod.
Oh god. Okay, now this can be a problem, but my Pokemon are just too good. Pelipper was able to weaken Arceus and Hippowdon was able to finish it off. Honestly, Arceus is lucky that I didn't use Future Trunks or Turles. So on my side, things were going crazy and I don't know why. Gerald had to fight Yveltal, but he was well prepared for it and it was just smooth sailing from then on. Eric was stuck fighting trash-ass Pokemon, with his own trash-ass Pokemon. His Swinub almost got dropped off multiple times, and his Scraggy was just as bad. We go into the Weather Institute, and of course there are some grunts in here that we need to fight. Right here, Shelly or Tabitha, depending on the game, finally see what their leaders are trying to do. By reawakening the legendary Pokemon Groudon and Kyogre back to their primal forms, it's going to cause some extreme changes to the weather of the world. And they also think that this is dumb as hell, but we still gotta fight them anyways. Again?
Kaminari.
That's what I'm talking. You're gonna get all the Gen 4.
Oh my god.
Oh man, another one.
Right away, this is looking bad. Eric is fighting God, and I'm fighting the devil. Me and Eric handle these guys though. Arceus gets dropped off by 2 moves, and I had to play the slow game with Poison, and praying not to get crit, but we handled that. While all that was happening, Gerald fought a Bannet, so he was fine. But I have to say something about this. Dialga, Arceus, Giratina, what's next? Palkia? Shout out to Alan. After beating those guys, they give us a hint at where we should be going next, and the guys we just saved give us a Pokemon as a gift. This Pokemon would usually be cast form, but in our case, we got Alakazam, Poochyena, and Garbodor. Before we can get to the next town, we have one more thing to do. A battle with May. Why the fuck does May have an Arceus and a Rayquaza? Last time, I had to use my Pelipper to weaken Arceus so my Hippowdon could take it down. This time, we're in the rain. This is home court advantage. Arceus might have gotten a crit on me, okay, that's fine, but a crit wasn't one-shotting me, and all I had to do was heal up and use another home court advantage Surf. Oh, whoa. You see, I didn't plan for the second crit in a row. That's a bummer to lose a combo this good, but we're still not done because there's a Rayquaza on Gerald's side. It's not even the regular Rayquaza, it's the Mega one that's overpowered for no reason. His Grand Bull seemed to be the perfect counter for it though. Losing the Braviary, Pelipper, and Espeon set of Pokemon gave us the option to put our starters back in the party. Honestly, not a bad trade-off. It was either our starters or the quote-unquote Latias we got, and we just felt like our starters gave us better type coverage. Alright, Fortree City. We can't get straight to the gym quite yet because Steven's hanging around here, meaning we have to talk to him before anything can progress. Talking to him, he gives us the Devon Scope, allowing us to see the invisible thing blocking our path to certain areas. What the Devon Scope really does is allow you to fight a Kecleon blocking the path. You already know it's not going to be a Kecleon for us, but we decided that these encounters would be unusable Pokemon, mainly because that gives us like 3 free Pokemon all in the same area. But you can never get too comfortable, especially when you're playing a triple Soul Link. A Pokemon you thought was going to stick around to the very end can be taken away just like that. It learns a good move though, at level 35.
You're almost there.
Right at the level cap.
My goodness!
Oh no!
Jackie, no!
A heartbreaking loss right here to a Mega Kangaskhan. Hitmonchan was consistently one of Eric's strongest Pokemon, and was even able to take down an Arceus. Steelix, aka Future Trunks, was my physical wall. He wasn't the star of the team, but he had one job and did it well. He also took down a Rayquaza. Speaking of Rayquaza, Gerald's Grand Bull had also taken down the Mega version of it before. His Grand Bull also had Intimidate, which I think is a top tier ability. Losing these guys meant that we could put in the Glalie, Kangaskhan, and Venusaur combo. I think this replacement is fine enough, except for the fact that ice types are weak to everything, but I hope it'll be fine. However, we were not fine. I lost a Pokemon earlier to Arceus, and Eric lost one to Mega Kangaskhan. We started to slowly go crazy from playing this game. You know when I was a kid, whenever I saw the Zen headbutt, I just imagined the Pokemon going and then headbutting.
Yeah. Still is funny.
Hey, no swearing.
Like start headbutting.
Oh.
Wow. What?
Yeah, Eric Zen headbutted his controller and broke it. We were not well. The analog stick fell out. Yeah, it was bad. Before we could fight the gym leader, we had to do some grinding. Eric managed to get a Swinub to evolve into a Piloswine, making it much better than it was before, and it was about time we headed into the gym to beat the gym trainers. Eric has to deal with a Giratina, but he's able to take it down. But disaster strikes again, and Kyurem returns, the enemy of our Soul Links, and sadly it takes away another one of our Pokemon. The shiny combination is now gone. Of course it is. I mean, I guess it was cheated in anyways. With our shinies gone, we replaced them with Gengar, Garchomp, and Feebas. Luckily, we are still able to have a party of 6, but I don't need to remind you why this combination isn't the greatest. And finally, we can face off against Winona. I feel like so much has happened before this fight. I used to think that Winona was kind of a forgettable gym leader, but she pulled a deadly pump fake on Eric and Gerald. On my side, there weren't really any problems, my Pokemon were just too strong again. Gerald probably thought he had it easy when she let out with this thing, but every Pokemon after that were all heavy hitters. Chandelure, Mega Sableye, wait, is that even a heavy hitter? Whatever. And Meloetta. Meloetta definitely being the hardest fight, and we had some close calls here. Why did he name his Ampharos after Citan? Ah, my god. But no casualties, all good. Eric, on the other hand, Winona might have torn his ACL. Every Pokemon he fought seemed easy up until Druddigon. Now, Druddigon doesn't even look like a Pokemon to be afraid of. I mean, it looks like the rough draft of a dragon Pokemon. But trust me, Druddigon is not to be messed with.
Ooh, that's a bad crit. Man, I'm saying crit all over the place.
Chill!
Our Gengar, Garchomp, and Feebas are now gone. Gerald was probably popping off now that he didn't have to carry around a Feebas anymore. But I named my Garchomp Goku and my Kangaskhan Chi-Chi, and now Goku just died. This was almost a double kill though, because Winona almost killed Eric's Piloswine. She came very close to killing it. I'm surprised it didn't die, but we got through with only one casualty. 6th gym badge in the bag. Goku might have failed, but the Prince of all Saiyans has risen to take his place. There's some grunts on the way talking about needing to get to Mount Pyre before the other team. Yeah, sure. This whole area has some pretty good Pokemon for us to catch, but we decided to get the Safari Zone Pokemon before anything else. By the way, the entire Safari Zone is one encounter. I'm not sure if people do it differently, but I'm just mentioning it just in case. The encounter we got here wasn't all too bad. I mean, you could say that Subat is bad, but let's just think of it as a Crobat alternative.
Yo, this kid isn't dying, bro. He might also drop me off right now. Please. No! Oh no!
I was not aware that Subat could even do that. Well, Glalie, Kangaskhan, and Venusaur just died, and Chi-Chi and Goku are now both in the dead box. Wow. We're gonna have to replace our previous Pokemon with some new ones fast, because there's a fight up ahead with May in Lily Cove City. May's party is always gonna be completely random besides her starter. There's really no way to plan for this fight besides having high-level Pokemon to fight her with. Not too high of a level though, because we still have to worry about over-leveling. Eric and Gerald didn't have too much of a problem with their fights. These Pokemon were just okay. In my fight, May pulls out a Dialga. Why do you also have a Sinnoh legendary? What did I do to Sinnoh? But right here, I had to dial in and focus up. Right off the bat, my team is not equipped to fight Dialga. Hitmonlee might have had the type advantage against it, but I had a bad feeling that Hitmonlee was not going to be faster. I immediately switch out to Mightyena to lower this guy's attack. Intelligent move by me. But he's using a special move, so okay, he got me. Broke my ankles, whatever. Only Pokemon who can safely tank some hits is going to be my Miltank. My Miltank is definitely putting in the work, doing some chip damage with strength, and even lands a crit. But my lack of Pokemon knowledge didn't prepare me for this Aura Sphere. This right here tells me 3 things. Number 1, Dialga can easily sweep my entire team right here. Number 2, I can't stall forever with Miltank. If I get crit, Miltank is gone. Number 3, there is someone who can switch into an Aura Sphere, my Vivillon. Tank the Aura Sphere and Stun Spore this guy. That was the plan, but the Stun Spore misses, and a Dragon Claw crit kills my Vivillon, also killing the Charizard, Vivillon, and Skiploom combo. In hindsight, maybe just attacking it would have been the better play, but this death gave the opportunity for my Hitmonlee to switch in and kill the Dialga. I had to really focus up for that fight because that could have been really bad.
That might have been my shot.
Again?
Why does it have to be back-to-back legendaries? And why does it have to be this guy again? This Kyurem was really doing some damage to my team, and again, the only Pokemon who could tank it was my Miltank. So I did what had to be done. I PP stalled it with all 100 of my potions until I could beat it. Dishonorable? Yes. But did I get the job done? Also yes. The rest of May's team were still strong, but come on, you think an Armaldo and Dugong were gonna scare me after what I just fought? Getting another Pokemon wouldn't be that hard. There was no shortage of encounters in this area, so we were fine. We are seriously going to need those encounters though, because I ended up losing 2 Pokemon at once. Janemba, my Mawile, would have lived here if I didn't get crits, and I had to run from this encounter because Mega Gardevoir is seriously no joke. You know, it's just not a good day to be me. After this, we spent a long time gathering encounters. Super Repels, Dex Nav, fishing, we did everything. We needed to rebuild our team. Gathering encounters is the easy part. It was time for us to level everybody up. It was definitely a grind, but it had to be done. It got to the point where Eric was doing this thing. What is this? I want you to keep in mind that the next area that we need to get to is the top of Mount Pyre, and we avoided it for like 2 hours.
Monferno? Why is your booty hole red?
Why are you looking at his booty?
I just saw it, bro. Look at him, bro. Someone did a fucking fire type move on his ass, bro. Why is it red like that, bro?
But in the middle of training, Eric decided to fight some random trainer in Mount Pyre for more experience.
Whoa, no. Oh my god.
This Mega Gyarados is the complete counter to all of Eric's team with his Electivire gone. Eric sends out his Donphan to try and kill the Gyarados, but it also goes down. Now things are getting really bad. Eric sends out his Volcarona, and the Gyarados decided not to use a water move, allowing Eric to beat it. We'll be the first ones to admit it. We got lucky. And now we're down to 2 Pokemon. You know we had to team build, but we also had to roast Eric. Gerald more than me.
I've had.
Don't
it
ever
before,
fight a
bro.
trainer ever again.
That was one of the scariest moments I
I was
had
about to
this
pop
whole
off
run,
on
bro.
you, Eric. I was about to pop off, bro.
Don't ever fight a trainer ever again.
Okay, okay.
You say
Oh,
okay, but you
my bad,
never
my
learned,
bad,
bro. You
my
never learned,
bad.
bro. You fought a trainer that had a Mega Gyarados and
Why
dropped
would you
off
say it
your
like that,
Electro
though?
Fire, bro.
Why did you say
it
it
dropped off
off?
your Dawn fan. Why the fuck did you go into your Dawn fan of all?
So after some team rebuilding, this is the current team, and I actually make a mistake here while putting it together. Our Route 119 encounter was Braixen, Hitmonlee, and Manectric, but during the team building, I put Mightyena there instead and used it in the upcoming battles. The reason I made this mistake was because Mightyena was also found in 119, but it was the Gifts Pokemon from the Weather Institute. I'm willing to admit when I make a mistake, it was my bad, so the team currently looks like this. Now, this next part might be controversial. We were starting to run low on recording space because we kept recording while we were leveling. Now, you can say, why don't you just turn off the recording when you're doing that stuff? Well, it's because stuff like this happens.
Bad,
you never
my
learned,
bad,
bro. You
my
never learned,
bad.
bro.
In order to speed things up and to save recording space, we swapped using rare candy to level up our Pokemon. There are still level caps, so we can't abuse this, but it would totally be fair to call this cheating. Since we have rare candies, we can finally progress to the top of Mount Pyre. It's taken us so long to get here. Maxie or Archie were able to get to the orbs and plan to get it to its respective legendary to reawaken it. They're heading off to Slateport, and we have to handle things here. Gerald didn't seem to have a hard time here, and despite fighting Nuxie, Eric didn't seem to have a rough time either. I, on the other hand, greatly underestimated how far my team had fallen. This took a while. We head over to Slateport and find out that Team Aqua / Magma have now hijacked the ship and are heading to their hideout in Lily Cove. How do we know this? Because they tell us. And I guess we already knew where it was anyways. We have 2 grunts here to fight before we can leave, and oh my god. We beat the grunts with absolutely no problem. Yeah, I had to fight a Rayquaza, but all I had to do was use strength with my Miltank until it didn't feel like fighting anymore. We then go to the secret hideout to get to the leaders. Things were going smoothly here until Mega Kangaskhan returns, and yeah, that happened. So while Gerald was potentially in a fight that could have ended our entire run, me and Eric were already out of there. The moment me and Eric saw one of Gerald's Pokemon die, we instantly started heading back to the PC to team build. Again, we make the same mistake with the Route 119 encounter. This time I put in my Hitmonlee, but the other 2 thought it was the Gift Pokemon because of how I used Mightyena last time, and yeah, this Gift Pokemon is really ruining a lot of things, huh? Surprisingly, it just happened to be that the types of these 2 encounters never conflicted, so this problem just kept happening. We do resolve this because of a death. Eric's Alakazam dies, and we realize that we've had the Gifts Pokemon and the random encounter mixed up this entire time. So we do what we think is right, and we put both Pokemon in the dead box. We finally make it to the end of the hideouts, and what awaits us is a 1v5. We're getting jumped. A bit of a close call on Eric's side, but we managed to get through without any other losses. So the boss gets away, and the next thing for us to do is to get to Moss Deep City to fight Tate and Liza. I hate this gym so much. We're not going in quite yet though. On the way to Moss Deep City, and listen to me closely, Pacific Doglog Town. I'm gonna say it again. Pacific Doglog Town. There are a lot of encounters that we can get and that we need. As you saw before, we had to put 2 Pokemon in the dead box because of a mistake that we made, and we needed to be as prepared as possible for this next gym. We snowballed in the early game, so now we have to fight an uphill battle. I also got a Pokemon that I'll be naming after MatPat. Why is it a Gourgeist? Well, I had to name a Pokemon after him at some point. So this is our current team, plus some random HM Pokemon we're probably gonna have in our parties. The teams are looking extremely lopsided. I think my team is fine enough. I mean, I named my Glaceon Perfect Cell. Sorry, Future Trunks. I think Gerald was fine with this team. I mean, he likes the Pokemon Cherrim, which he calls Tom. There's more lore to it than that, but let's just say Eric hates Tom. Eric has 5 water types on his team and a Qwilfish he named after me. Why did he do that? This could be possibly very dangerous. 1 grass type and 1 electric type, and it could all be over. Well, we're about to see if things are gonna go wrong because the next thing for us to do is to head to Tate and Liza's gym and to clear these frauds. The gym trainers, I mean. Tate and Liza are the real deal. Trust me, I know they are. While fighting these trainers though, there was a bit of a discovery among our current Pokemon. I have never once used Glaceon. I've always liked it, but I've always stuck with the original 3 because they were easier to get. But Glaceon was showing a lot of promise. That special attack was no joke. Base 130? I knew I named this Pokemon Perfect Cell for a reason. Gerald didn't really have any kind of discovery besides that Dragonair is garbage, but we already knew that. And Eric was slowly starting to see some potential in the Qwilfish. There might be some sleeper Pokemon here, besides Dragonair. I don't really feel the need to speak on this gym fight too much. We had better Pokemon, we beat it, no problem. Stepping outside the gym, there's a giant pillar of light shooting out of the water, and we go to discuss this with Steven. The seal of the legendary Pokemon of our respective games has now been broken, and it's up to the champ and the champ to handle this problem. Steven hands us the HM for dive and some scuba gear, and let's get investigating. After fighting through a bunch of grunts, we come face to face with the real boss. They're 1 step away from achieving their goal, and decide to give us 1 final fight. No holding back. So in this fight, since the vanilla version has them having a mega Pokemon, we know that there's guaranteed to be one. We don't know what it is, but there's gonna be one. Things were looking okay for me until Groudon appears, Luckily, this wasn't the Mega, but Archie, you're supposed to have Kyogre, not this guy. Honestly, this was one of the tougher fights on all ends. Eric almost lost his Sharpedo at the end to a Mega Tyranitar. Honestly, it was a good thing he used Dive because we weren't sure if a Sandstorm would have killed it. On the other hand, Gerald was fighting a Mega Sharpedo and was getting dropped off bad, but he eventually beat it. I was also having a rough time. The Groudon wasn't easy to handle, but I still had a Mega Swampert to deal with, and I got a little careless and had an extreme close call here. We beat Maxie and Archie, but they have the orb. This battle was merely a show match because in the end, the legendary Pokemon is about to awaken. Tabitha or Shelly come in to say that this entire plan will destroy the world. What they envisioned and what's actually about to happen are completely different. Well, Kyogre's awake now. Or Groudon. Wait, why are we playing different versions? Maxie and Archie now get a huge reality check. Yeah, the world is going to be reset, but everything on the planet will also be killed in the process. I mean, that's what a world reset is. What we need to do right now is to get to Satopolis and get to the Cave of Origin. The legendary Pokemon will try to get there to revert back to their primal forms, and we have to try and stop it. Steven, where have you been? Now that we're here in Satopolis, we meet with the champ and the other champ, if you get the reference. We head over to the gate of the Cave of Origin, and Maxie or Archie hand us the suit they were planning to use. They recognize what they were trying to do was dumb, and now we're the only ones who can stop the legendary Pokemon with the power of the opposing orb. We actually got this a while back, but I didn't mention it because we had some other stuff going down at the time.
You never learned that. You never learned that.
May's also here to check in on us. She's extremely confused by what's going on here, but she gives us some words of encouragement, and we're going in. Also, this is a new area, so new Pokemon. I don't think I need to say this anymore. We put on our suits and meet up with our respective legendaries. I'm not sure if these Pokemon would be friendly at all towards humans, but we ride on his back to the very bottom of the Cave of Origin. And you know what time it is. It's time for us to fight. Groudon and Kyogre revert back to their primal forms, and we can't even catch it. There's conflicting types. Well, that's not how I expected our legendary encounter to go. We beat the legendary Groudon Kyogre and save everyone from being drowned. Or of everyone dying of dehydration. My headcanon is that we beat up Rayquaza too many times, so we're the ones who have to fix this mess.
Bro, Wally, get the fuck out of my face, bro.
Why are you roasting him, dude? Why are you roasting him, dude?
Wally's a fraud,
okay,
bro.
now you're going too far. Now you're going too far.
Wally's actually a fraud, bro. I hate Wally.
Now that Team Aqua and Magmar are done trying to do anything crazy, Steven gives us the Eon Flute. We won't be using this at all, but thanks, Steven. And there's only one gym leader left to fight. Wallace. So before that, let's do some team building. Okay, looking at this team, this is not good. For some reason, Eric wanted to try and be a water-type gym leader, but you can guess what the problem is. Eric's team is only full of water types. I, again, have a super team, and Jode has a pretty good team as well. Eric's team, well, half of the Pokemon there are trash. We level our Pokemon up, and it's time to face Wallace. No, not to Lombre. Don't die to Lombre. Oh, wow. And I already almost lost the Pokemon to Lombre of all things. Great start. Other than that, though, every other Pokemon here was no problem for me. Gerald had a bunch of strong Pokemon to deal with, including our arch nemesis, but he got through just fine. Eric was pretty much only using his Quillfish, and it proved to be a lot better than we all thought. But there would soon come a challenger to really test Quillfish's ability. Genesect.
Come on, Jeffrey. Try attack. Jeffrey. Yes! No! This is his last resort, bro. What?
He had a good run.
Dude, Jeffrey pretty much sweep this whole gym.
It was sad how Quillfish went out, but we still have to keep pushing on, and there's our final gym badge. With our previous Pokemon dead, we replaced them with Poliwag, Conkeldurr, and Litleo. We also replaced our previous combo of Sharpedo, Aerodactyl, and Meganium to add in some all-star Pokemon, being Ammonite, Metagross, and Blaziken. So Eric has a team full of water types, I have a super team for like the 4th time in a row, and Gerald's team is just okay. At this point, we all did our own separate things to get prepared for Victory Road. Eric went on a journey to try and find a water stone for his newly evolved Poliwhirl. This will be pretty hard to do since all the items are randomized, so he has to just go to random places and pray for good RNG, I don't know. Gerald got lost in the mall, and I went ahead to the entrance of Victory Road. But while trying to find a water stone for his Poliwhirl, this happened to Eric.
Bro, why is he using Gerald's Pokemon? Dude!
No, dude, what?
Wait a minute. We might be in trouble.
If worse comes to worse, you can lose everybody, or don't lose everybody, but lose 5 Pokemon if you need to. Just don't lose the run.
Oh yeah, this guy's crazy. He's got my murder whip.
Get out, get out, get out, get out.
Shit, it's a double battle trainer fight, bro.
And right there, you just witnessed the exact moment when Eric didn't want to be a water-type gym leader anymore. This Poliwhirl just indirectly killed 2 of our Pokemon, all because Eric needed a Water Stone for it. So, we created a new team from scratch, and it's safe to say that although Poliwhirl didn't die or anything, it's gonna suffer a fate worse than death. Being permabenched. While doing some team rebuilding, at some point the teams were looking like this. See, the approach we took with team building this time was for me to have the Metagross, pretty much a super strong carry, and everyone else just put what they wanted on the team. But my team still ended up being pretty stacked anyways. Except for this thing. The Ledian was so trash, we had to swap it out for another encounter, and it just happened to be the case that Matt Pat was linked to some pretty good Pokemon, and the types didn't conflict, so I guess Matt Pat is on the Dragon Ball squad now? Since we're so close to the Elite Four, we needed to make sure our next encounters would be good for our team. We're at the point in the game where we've almost gotten every single possible encounter, so these last ones need to count. On Route 132, we got arguably one of the best encounters during this entire playthrough. Luxray, Gengar, and Empoleon. That's what I call a good encounter. That's what we needed. But our next encounter was just as good, arguably better. No, it wasn't better, but it was still pretty good. Route 133, we got Garchomp, Zoroark, and Chespin, giving us all 6 Pokemon and creating our final team. Next thing we needed to do was to get through Victory Road. In order to get through this place, we did need HM Pokemon, so we're going in with 5. Victory Road was no problem at all for us. Our teams, even without the 6 Pokemon, could get through these random trainers without any real trouble. The real trouble is at the end, where Wally's waiting for us. He's back to fight us one last time, because of what Eric said. I was scared of Wally going into this fight, and to be honest, I was scared for nothing. I mean, if I knew Wally was throwing out Pokemon like this, I wouldn't have been scared at all. The scariest part was the Mega Lucario, but you know, Bardock got it. Gerald definitely had a tougher fight than me because he had to go against his own Pokemon, and then he had to fight another one, except it's Mega this time. He had the proper Pokemon to deal with it, although this was kind of scary because if Blaziken used a fighting move on Empoleon, it would have for sure been a one-shot, but it all worked out. Wally was using straight garbage against Eric. I mean, I guess Eric got in his head last time, but this was embarrassing. It's almost time for us to fight the Elite Four, and we have to prepare as best as we can. We all went to buy TMs for all of our Pokemon. In my case, I was buying at least 10 of every X item. Seriously, we needed to have every single advantage possible. We went to the move reminder, we checked out what hidden powers we could learn, we bought as many potions as we could, and we put all the best available items on all of our Pokemon. Okay, now what I'm about to say might be biased, and also because I'm the one making the video and all, but my team is badass. Like, I have a whole supervillain team. I might not have the best coverage, but you cannot deny the swagger my team has. Gerald's team looks more traditional. I'm only really saying that because he has 3 different starters from 3 different generations on his team. Honestly, if my team looks like something that the villain would use, his looks more like something the protagonist would use. Eric's team, now that I'm getting a good look at it, is actually kind of random. I don't know what I was going to do here. The level cap for the entire Elite Four is the ace Pokemon of each member that we face. This rule is only in place because we have rare candies and we can do this. Without rare candies, the level cap would have just been the first member's ace Pokemon. But you know, we also committed to the rare candy thing, so we might as well go all the way, huh? All that's left for us to do is to face off against the Elite Four, starting with Sydney. By the way, if you see Eric's Swallow being burned, it's because he put the Flame Orb on it to take advantage of Guts, which increases damage by 50% when inflicted with the status. Yeah, we really planned this out. Off the bat, me and Eric had some rough Pokemon to deal with. That Excadrill was not playing around, and I already had to resort to using my Metagross to beat this Gardevoir. Gerald found himself up against a Scorpy and took this time to set up with Bulk Up on his Blaziken, but something totally unexpected would end up happening shortly after. Vivillon outspeeding Blaziken and killing it. I can't blame Gerald for thinking that Blaziken would have been faster than Vivillon. Honestly, we all did, but looking up the base stat totals, Vivillon is indeed faster than Blaziken. Our first death in the Elite Four during the first member. Not the greatest start, but Gerald ended up beating the rest of Sydney's Pokemon with only 1 death. I lucked out by not having any more strong Pokemon to deal with and beat Sydney as well. Eric was consistently having tough fights back to back. There was the Excadrill that almost killed his Garchomp, a surprisingly strong Grumpig, the Mega Glalie afterwards, and then an Entei waiting for him at the very end. Despite all of this, we managed to get through with only 1 loss. First member down, 3 more to go. This was still a pretty tough loss. Metagross was definitely going to be one of my hard carries, so with it being taken out so early, things are going to be rough. In the next room, we go against Phoebe, and right away, Eric is going to have some problems with his Mega Altaria. It seems like he was slowly getting the job done, but I can't focus on what he's doing because I got some problems of my own. Kyurem is back, but this time it's Kyurem White, an extreme counter to my whole team. From the start, my team had a glaring fire type weakness, and the Pokemon with the most amount of special defense on my team was the ice type. So I had to send send out my Gengar to hopefully tank some hits. It was scary because my Gengar got crit instantly, but Bardock barely survived and was able to take it down. Eric was eventually able to take down the Mega Altaria, and the rest of Phoebe's Pokemon were just no problem. Gerald had a Virizion to deal with, but his floor just handled it well, and the rest was pretty easy. Second Elite Four member down, 2 more to go. Next up was Glacia. She immediately started off with a legendary for Eric to deal with, but it was nothing a guts boosted Swallow couldn't handle. It seemed like that was the only tough Pokemon for Eric to deal with, but there's another legendary waiting for him at the end. Never mind. Gerald also had a legendary to deal with, but honestly, he was handling it with Gorbis, aka my guy Richard. Nothing really happened in my fight. In fact, I was the first one done, so nothing else to say there. Third member down. One more Elite Four member before the champion. Drake. Although Eric had to fight a Hydreigon off the bat, he got through this fight pretty easily. He was actually the first one done. Same with Gerald, he got through Drake pretty easily. For me, most of the Pokemon here were kinda weak up until the Salamence came out. I swapped out into my Doublade because it would have the highest defenses plus the Eviolite. And now I know it has Flamethrower, something that my team really can't deal with. Gengar and Zoroark were the only ones who were neutral to it, and I knew Gengar was tankier than Zoroark, so I had to leave it to Bardock. But I didn't expect Bardock to be taking a Zen Headbutt to the dome, killing him. He could have died to any other move, but he died to Zen Headbutt. I can't believe it. I get through the fight without any more casualties, but now we only have 4 Pokemon. Only 4 Pokemon to go against Steven with. Well, there's only one thing left to do. A real champion showdown against Steven. Steven immediately sends out a Mega Diancie against Eric. Now this is gonna be rough. On my side, Steven hits me with a deadly crossover and throws out a Magikarp, making me think this was gonna be easy, and then sends out a Victini, the complete counter to my entire team. Gerald's not having an easy time either, but for me and Eric, we're facing Pokemon that can end everything right here. Eric switches out into his Drapion and takes some hits, but it's clear to see that his Drapion could not take more than 1 hit. Eric tries to at least get an attack off, but Diancie is faster, killing his Drapion. On the other hand, I swapped into my Zoroark to do something, but it was clear that he wasn't able to do anything. I tried swapping out into Doublade to try and tank a hit since I thought there might be a chance that this thing might use V-Create, which is a physical move, but it used Inferno again, killing my Doublade. There didn't seem like much else I could do, so I sent out my Glaceon and immediately used an X special defense. My Glaceon tanked the hits, but it also got burned. From this though, if I could just stall out enough and get my Glaceon stacked with as many X items as I could sweep the rest of Steven's Pokemon. On the other side, Eric was contemplating on what to do against Diancie as it was a direct counter to everything on his team. There wasn't much he could think of and went out into his Ampharos. Gerald had a Giratina to fight against, which ended up killing off his Florges, and he had to resort to Leech Seed and Potion Stalling to beat it. Now back to Eric's side, all he could do was keep on healing Ampharos after Diancie got 1 hit in. He couldn't stall forever though, and eventually the Diancie crit Ampharos with a Moonblast, killing it off. Garchomp would have for sure gotten one-shot if he sent it out, so he only had 1 plan left. Send out a Swallow, double team, and pray it didn't get hit. It was the only thing we could think of in this situation, and this is what happens afterwards.
If it hits Arya, GG. How many double teams do I do? Just 1?
Just keep going as much as you can. As many as you can.
1 hit, it's wraps.
1 hit, it's... Yeah, it is.
Oh, there's the Stone Edge.
And it hits the Stone Edge.
Oh no.
It hit the Stone Edge, the move that Eric had the best chance of dodging, and it hit it. He sends out his Garchomp, and it's all over. There it is. In the very end, we came up just a little short. We were right there. It was just one more fight before we could call ourselves the champions of Hoenn. There were many things we could have done differently. What if Gerald's Blaziken was faster than Vivillon? What if I used someone other than Gengar against Salamence? What if Eric had started off the fight with a different Pokemon? Would've, could've, should've. In the end, we lost to the champion. In fact, Eric went to rematch Steven and taught a Swallow Steel Wing and was able to win. But how could he have known that his Swallow was going to need Steel Wing? The answer is, he couldn't have. Sometimes, you can't plan for everything. You can't always see what's coming, and that's just how it is. We went into the Elite Four with everything we had. We did everything we thought we could've. We got the potions, we got the items, we got the X items. But even then, it wasn't enough to beat Steven. We waited so long for this just to fail at the very end, but you know, that's okay. Sometimes you try your absolute best and you don't come out as the winner. You think you did everything right, but things just don't work out like you want them to. It's a heavy loss, one that hurts to look back at, but I admit it, Steven, you've beaten us. You're the real champ. It looks like our journey has come to an end. So besides Eric's point of view, what happened to me and Gerald? I would end up maxing out all stats on my Glaceon with X items and go on to sweep all of Steven's Pokemon. Gerald would have a Mega Metagross to fight at the very end, but would end up making it across the finish line. But it's a triple Soul Link. If one goes down, we go down together. We might have lost here, but we'll be back one day. It might be Hoenn, it might not be. But we'll be back to truly become Triple Soul Link champions.